Casablanca, 1942, Michael Curtiz. That is Sean's favorite movie. Back to the Future, 1985, Robert Zemeckis. That is Max's favorite movie. So why does this matter? Well, interestingly enough, Max has not seen Sean's favorite, and Sean has not seen Max's favorite. And so today, we are going to change all of that. Welcome to CinemaTalk, the official Rule Thirds podcast. Again, thanks for joining us. Today is the favorite movie showdown. We're going to be discussing Casablanca and Back to the Future, and see what the other thinks. It is definitely going to be an interesting episode. So, we might as well get started. My name is Larry.
My name is Sean.
And my name is Max.
Gentlemen, let us begin.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
So before we even get into any in-depth analysis or anything like that, we're just going to let Sean and Max just let it out now because there is some serious tension. So Sean, we're going to start off with you and Back to the Future.
All right. Well, I just want to say for everyone that Max and I, at least I finished watching Back to the Future 15 minutes ago.
And I finished watching Casablanca about 10 minutes ago.
So this is super recent. We just sat down.
This is right off the cuff, just bam, right after.
So
it's like walking out. It's just like what happens when you're walking out of the movie theater after seeing movies with your friends. Them saying it right here, right now.
Exactly.
Yes.
It should be interesting. But Sean, go ahead, please.
Back to the Future was great. I very much enjoyed it. There's not too much analysis to do. It did a lot of great stuff with time travel.
I am personally very relieved at that as well as Max because I love Back to the Future.
I get to be nervous about the other end of this. But yeah, I would just say it was a great movie. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I guess before we get into analysis, that's all I'm going to say.
And now Max, Casablanca.
Oh God,
damn it! Casablanca was really, 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 really good. I really enjoyed it. It was really smart, and I don't know if this means anything, but it really doesn't surprise me that this is your favorite movie, Sean.
Good.
It does not surprise me.
All right.
There is one thing that holds it back, but really that's kind of but really it's even, what is it, freaking 64, 74 years later, it still grabs you. It still grabs you.
Excellent.
All right, so everyone likes the movies. For those of you who care, I've seen both movies also, and I enjoyed both. So we will be having a very interesting discussion here. So to choose who discusses which movie first, I have a coin. It's literally right now in my hand as we're recording this. I'm gonna flip it. Heads is Casablanca, and tails is Back to the Future. So
which goes first, right? Or which goes second?
I thought it would be which goes first.
Well, I feel like we each want our favorite movie to be second.
No, I don't really care. If you want to talk about Back to the Future first, that's fine. Whatever, go for it. I don't care. I was before we start this podcast, I suggested that we do Casablanca first, just because it's chronological. It came before Back to the Future, but
I would prefer Back to the Future first, just so I can build to.
Okay, we're gonna flip this coin to see whoever goes
future
first.
In it, which means it happens in the future, which is not now. So
okay, we're just gonna flip this coin to see whoever goes first, because clearly we can't decide. All right, here we go. All right, and it is tails. So we're doing Back to the Future first.
All right,
cool.
All right, Sean, take it away.
I was kidding. It's horrible. It's the worst. Okay.
No,
there's no twist. Okay. Where to start? I mean, Max, you want to prompt me or something?
Okay.
Again, I just saw it, so it's not like I formulated.
Here's what I'm gonna do. Here's what we'll do. I'll put you in my shoes when I first saw this movie, and we'll do the same with Casablanca. And then,
I don't remember when I first saw Casablanca.
What?
I don't really remember when I first saw Casablanca.
Okay. Well, I remember with Back to the Future. I think was in either 8th grade. No. Freshman year of high school. Saw it with my family, blown the fuck away. Could not wait to see the next one. It was great. It became my favorite movie quickly after that. So, yeah. Now, what was your favorite part, Sean? What was the part that really stuck out to you?
Well, the thing that stuck out to me, it's funny, what turned out to be my favorite part was actually my least favorite part at the beginning, which was okay, this is a famous movie. It's been around for a while. So I know of it. I know what happens. I know the climax. I know all the pieces. And so when it's opening and it's just foreshadowing line after foreshadowing line, over and over and over, it just kind of got so heavy-handed. But I realized, okay, that's fine. It's not the movie's fault. It's my fault for not seeing it for, 30-something years. Yeah. But then when it all came together at the end, where all these pieces had to add up together for the climax, it was my favorite part. It's time travel movies have such a great opportunity to do wonderful story things, and it does. Back to the Future absolutely makes use of pretty much everything it can, given its setup. That's my favorite part. Unless you were talking specifics.
Like, I don't know, like, was there like a specific, like, yeah, no, just anything that like really stuck out to you is really, really good. Like,
Well,
maybe,
I just think the story was incredibly well thought out, and for a time travel movie, that's critical. And it was just fun to watch. It was fun to see all the pieces add up, and like, oh, that's what that meant, or where this came from, and it was just really smart and well constructed. I don't know. I mean,
All right, I'll lead you if need be. I want to know what you thought of the performances, specifically from our two leading men.
yes,
Marty McFly, played by Michael J.
Yes.
Fox, and Doc Brown, played by, damn it, I'm losing it. Christopher Lloyd.
Christopher
there we go.
Lloyd.
yes,
Gotcha.
Christopher Lloyd.
Sorry, it happens.
It's okay. You're having a brain freeze, Larry.
Was
it
brain fart.
frozen today, Larry? I win everything. Anyway, so let's Marty McFly. Yes, likable protagonist. Lots of great delivery. And okay, can we just say right now this is spoilers?
Yeah, let's just
One's from the
spoilers.
40s, one's from the 80s, and I'm like I always get a funny look when I say I've seen Back to the Future, so I feel like it's okay to go spoilers.
Yeah, good, let's do it.
Okay, with spoilers. The best scene for Michael J. Fox was when he wakes up and his mother is clearly hitting on him, and he has no pants on. And there's just there's so much great. By the way, this was in the past. His mother. It's oh God.
Yeah, it
is a
yeah.
complicated setup.
Look, if you've stuck around, you either know what the movie is, you've seen it, or you don't care. So
Right. Anyway, but it just sounds weird, okay? It just sounds weird when I say it like this. Saying it out loud, this is a weird movie. I don't say that's a bad thing. So that scene just kind of showcases Michael J. Fox has a lot of great... It's more than visual humor. It's pretty much all focused on facial expression. You could call it mugging, but that always has a negative connotation. I wouldn't call it that. And same goes for Doc Brown. It's just facial expressions. Like, that's just... For me, it was like 70% of the humor. Like, just everyone just has great reactions to everything going on.
Wait, Doc, what the hell is a gigawatt?
Yeah, and he just freaks out, and it's... Again, I haven't formulated anything. That's kind of a downside of this podcast. It's just going to be saying, this part, good.
Well, that's how you get your opinions
Okay,
down.
what do you think of, what do you think of the bad, like, were there any, like, bad parts that you, like, the parts that you just straight up did not like?
Well, no. A part of it would... I guess it didn't age perfectly. It has...
Oh, it's like the best 80s movie ever, because, like, even though you can tell it hasn't aged well, it's still thoroughly watchable.
Right, but it's more just a pacing thing. Like, the plot itself doesn't get going for quite a while. The climax is pretty long.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like, from when he's in the parking lot to the end, it's like, poof, that's a lot.
I feel like
so
so many
much,
different things happened in that climax. It's like it's very multi-layered.
And it was good. It was a surprisingly intense climax, too.
Oh,
I was
yeah,
expecting
totally.
that.
But it's just there's a lot that happens. So
Yeah,
it's
it
kind
was
of
very
extended a bit farther than it probably should have. But still, it's very watchable.
It's basically, it's broken into quite a few giant chunks. Like, there's the pre-traveling, there's this chunk. It's just kind of in giant chunks. So it feels a little off compared to movies now. But whenever I think something doesn't age well, I kind of have to remind myself that it's me. You know, I've been watching movies in this century, and other movies were made for different audiences. So it's not really its fault, but I do have to point that out. Like, that's the only really negative thing I have, is that the pacing is a little clunky. But it's not like it's unwatchable, not even close. It's just the only complaint I really have. It's really funny and really smart and well acted, well written, and everything.
So quotable.
Yeah,
I find the entire screenplay to be like completely quotable. That's just me, though.
It's funny. It's hard for me to call the movie quotable when next we're going to talk about Casablanca. And wait, hold up, wait for it. You hear that?
Oh God,
that's the screenplay. Isn't it?
That is the screenplay of Casablanca that I got in LA this summer.
Yeah.
You bought the screenplay?
Yes, I have it. It's
a
shooting script.
You could do that?
It is a shooting script dated June 1st, 1942.
Holy shoot.
I don't know whose it is, but there are a few notes in it. It's pretty great.
Nice.
Anyway, but yes, it's quotable. And it's funny, a lot of times, like, it's one of those movies where I was watching it, and I realized that a line they said, okay, I see something parodied a bunch, and then when you finally see what it originally was, it's really funny. And so for me, that moment was when Marty's jamming on the guitar, and the previous guitarist with the injured hand, it's like, hey, you know that new sound you've been looking for? Well, listen to this. I was like, that's funny. It's from this movie, and I had no idea. So that was fun.
Yeah, you
Very
know,
quotable,
fun
yes.
fact, Family Guy, of all the references that it makes, the number one thing that is referenced the most in Family Guy is actually Back to the Future.
Interesting.
Star Wars is second.
Oh, well,
okay.
yeah. Star Wars.
I feel like Star Wars beats it by a mile because they did 3 full,
Yeah.
not full movies.
Actually, no. I kid you not. There was a DVD of Blue Harvest that they had, the first Star Wars Family Guy parody, and it had like a little factoid thing, and it showed me that the most quoted thing on Family Guy, Star Wars is the second most, Back to the Future is the most. I'm not kidding you. It said it on the DVD for the Family Guy.
Well, I'm
It's,
telling you,
and also,
there's a lot to quote.
A Million Ways to Die in the West, Doc Brown is there, so...
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
I-
Seth MacFarlane's a fan, and I see
Yeah,
why.
oh, absolutely. And now, I personally, I have a few problems with Back to the Future. Like, there are a few things that, like, kind of throw me off sometimes, but, like, never get in the way. For example, I've never liked how, even after the big, like, character arc moment where, what's his name? My mind's in a bit of a mess right now.
Marty.
Crispin Glover. No, Marty's
George.
dad.
George.
Oh, yeah,
George,
George,
that's
yeah.
right, George McFly. Where George punches Biff, right?
You're right.
And like it's like he's got it. He finally made it across. And then there's a second climax where we have to where he almost where Marty almost disappears. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Well, see,
You've
I
already
just, like-
gotten that done.
But I will defend that by saying it did resolve itself. There wasn't another scene to happen to make it fix. Like, Marty was vanishing, and it's like he couldn't do anything. And then George stepped in, like, established his newfound confidence and fixed it.
So you're saying
So
it's like more of a showcase of who he is now.
Yeah, it was more... actually, I would argue that it was a good idea because it reinforced it. Because everyone can have their one time stand up to the bully, and then the next day be cowering, apologizing, and never trying
All right,
again.
that's good.
I don't know. It felt like it kind of just cemented it. You know, it was like, no, I'm dancing. Yeah, I don't know. It didn't bother me at all.
Okay, here's another thing. And I hate to go all cinema sins on this conversation.
Okay.
But why the hell, after Doc rips up the letter, does he put it back together, look at it, and then put on a bulletproof vest back then, even though he has sworn the entire movie to not look at anything for the future?
Like you said, this is a very quotable movie, so I respond with, he figured, what the hell? That was the line. That was the line.
That's like, those are like my
honestly,
only gripes.
I feel like he just... I feel like he just realized that he should trust Marty. Like, that's how I at least interpreted it. Because I saw that coming.
Doc doesn't really trust Marty at all in the past.
But I think he learns that he should.
Yeah.
He probably will. Like, okay, I created a time machine and sent this kid back. Maybe I should listen to him. Like, maybe I should trust him. And so he put the pieces back together. Yeah.
I feel
Also,
like maybe like they wrote that, and like on set they're like, wait a minute, why does he put his back together even though there's something there? And he's like, Mr. Lloyd, what do you think? He'll just like, maybe that was like an improvised line where he's like, what the hell?
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, also, I mean, it was funny because when we're doing spoilers, right? When he was shot at the beginning, I was like, that is a really PG shooting.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like, there was no blood or anything, and then it made sense. Because the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, I'm pretty sure something else was going on there.
Yeah. I didn't know this until recently, but the fact is, Back to the Future established the idea of, like, the fact if you see yourself in the past or the future or whatever, the universe explodes. I didn't know that was, like...
It established... This movie
Back
didn't
to the Future
establish
came
that.
up with that specific rule.
Maybe the sequel, but not this one. That had nothing to do with it.
Yeah, the sequel, yeah.
Okay,
But
I
not
haven't
this
seen
one,
the
yeah.
sequels, obviously.
Yeah.
That could be a different podcast. I don't know.
Don't wait. No, do me a favor, Sean. Don't watch Back to the Future Part 2 until next year. Until 2015. Because Marty goes to the future in 2015.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's why we watched it today, actually, because it's the day he arrives in the past.
Yeah, so wait 365 days, and then watch Back to the Future Part 2, and there you go.
Okay.
It'll be that... In that
We'll see you in a year,
day.
folks, for my Back to the Future Part 2 review, I guess.
Yeah.
And you can watch Brazzaville, the sequel to Casablanca. Didn't happen. I'm sorry.
Oh.
It was in development, though, but we'll get there.
Well, okay. What did you think about, like, the cinematography? Like,
Good. There were a lot of great shots. Like, just well-composed, interesting shots. It wasn't like... This was nice to see a lot of just really nice shots, but they weren't over Hollywood. You know, that's something like the '80s has a much different Hollywood than we do. So when I think
yeah.
Hollywood shot,
Cocaine was everywhere back then.
what?
Cocaine was everywhere back then.
Yes, but I mean, do you kind of get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
it wasn't
yeah.
over dramatic. It wasn't like with grand lighting. It was just well composed shots, and I
Yeah.
really like composition in terms of cinematography. That's what I'm always interested in. A lot of people argue about light quality. A lot of people can argue about whatever. It's, you know, for me, it's the pieces and their arrangement. That's kind of that's where I
Yeah.
like seeing shots.
Yeah.
And this one has a lot of great compositions in it.
Yeah, I
So,
remember.
I love the cinematography.
I remember the first time I saw this film, and it's just that there are those perfect moments when you're watching a movie, and like you see that shot, and you're like, man, that's a really good shot. Like like the first time I saw it, that happened multiple times, and it's so interesting to just think about the thought that went into all of these different kinds of shots, like during the action scenes, maybe during some of the more dramatic elements, especially the end. Like the ending has so many great shots. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
So what did you think of Marty's role in the story? Because he's not really like, even though he's the main character, he's really just kind of like George. He's kind of like George's guardian angel. In fact, I'm pretty sure he says that at some point. Like,
I don't think he says that, but yeah, I kind of like that. It kept it simple. Like, he had that one track thing, and he just that's all he was supposed to do, is to get his father to meet his mother. But I mean, I could see the argument that he's not as important as, you know, other main characters, but honestly, he's kind of he could get kind of annoying, I imagine, if he was on screen too long, because he is kind of the you can't tell me what to do kind of teen. So I think we got just the right amount of that character.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, and I actually really like George. I want to mention that. I liked him. That was a great performance. Like, it wasn't overblown, which would have been so easy.
Gotta hand it to Crispin Glover, man.
Yeah,
Great
it would have been so easy to do, like, just this, you know, drooling mess. It's like, oh, look at the pathetic little creature. But no, he was human. He just
you know,
could not stand up for himself.
I'd go as far to say that I actually know quite a few people who are like young George. You know, like they have,
me too.
Like they
Me
have
too.
that very human, but yet, you know, just not. He's not the brightest guy. He's not the strongest guy, but he's still a guy. You know, he's not like inept. You know,
Right.
it's there.
A lot of artists are like that.
Well, true, but it's, you know, the characters feel very human. You know, and I love how Marty is pretty much us. He's our vessel in this case.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. I mean, he is. We definitely follow him the whole way. We never see a scene without him,
Right.
Mm-hmm.
which I always kind of like when movies do that. You know, they pick a main character and they don't show it. But yeah, it was just, I don't know what else to add. I mean,
I
you
want
guys
to
get
ask.
prompted.
Okay,
I want to ask.
Oh, okay.
I want to ask about the ending, because the ending, I really like the ending, personally.
Where,
You mean, like,
which part?
The
Yeah,
very,
there are
the
multiple
very
parts of the
end.
ending.
The very, very
oh,
end.
like
Dark
where
Brown
where it's like,
returns.
we don't need no. we
Yeah,
don't-
where
we don't need
Marty,
that.
where you know, when like you're completely thrown out of a loop and you're just totally discombobulated.
Well, I would actually have preferred if he just returns. Like, he didn't explain anything. Like, nothing about the children, nothing about they turn out fine. If he just appeared in the DeLorean and says, "Great Scott, we have to go," cut to black, something like that. Like, I would have preferred a little less information.
Okay,
honestly.
interesting. Yeah, I mean, but for me personally, like, it just told me that it was going to be another adventure. Like, I mean,
know, right?
I know that Back to the Future Part 2 happened.
Right.
I know that. And, like, I know that's what the storyline followed, but if it was just Back to the Future on its own, I would have just been like, oh, okay, it's just time for another time-traveling adventure.
Right. See, one of my favorite endings is Pirates of the Caribbean: Curse of Black Pearl, where it's just Jack Sparrow is back at the helm of the Pearl.
Drink up me
and
hearties, yo ho.
Yeah, and we don't know what he was gonna do. We just knew, oh, he's got his ship back, gonna go pirate. You know, and that Dead Man's Chest happened. It was a lot. We won't talk about that. So I feel like it could have been a better approach here. You know, slightly better. I mean, it still worked. It's an interesting idea, and it surely set up the sequel.
Yeah.
But I don't know. A little less information
personally,
would have been nice. More of a...
I didn't know that part 2 actually was meant to be continuous, going from the first one, because so many sequels aren't like that. So this was kind of just a shock. I was just like, oh wow, they probably just made up some stupid plot to
it's
go
more
for
than
Back to the Future
continuous.
2.
It's simultaneous too.
Yeah, yeah, which really is just Back to the Future's brilliance. But just that, I just think they executed it so brilliantly. Honestly, I mean, the ending already just was one of those moments for me where I was just like, I was taken through that climax, and then I just got that moment to relax afterwards. You know, you know, some movies just are so dramatically enveloping that sometimes just right after the climax, you just lie down and you're just like, like you take that deep breath out. But then, boom, nope, we're not done. We're not done. There's more. And that's where part two.
There's that one final, yeah.
So, yeah.
I guess that would be my thoughts on the ending. It was a good ending, and I'm of course talking the very end. But I feel like a little less info actually could have gone a long way.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So
now, what did you think? Okay, here's a question, John. What do you think this movie is about? Because I was thinking about this. I don't really know what Back to the Future is truly about.
Well, really, in that regard, like the character with an actual arc is George.
Yeah.
Marty doesn't change at all. Doc doesn't change at all. Thank goodness. I mean, so it's kind of about believing in yourself.
It's.
I don't know. Confidence.
Yeah, it's weird, like how it's kind of like it's okay with people. It's kind of like you can change the past to make a better future.
Yeah, I mean that could
like,
definitely be a theme. Like quite literally, you can change the future, as in you can take control of what happens, and it's again it's super literal, as in you can go in the past, mess up events, and change the future. And it's funny that Max, you're not entirely sure what it's about when there's like zero question what Casablanca's about. Like, I wanted to do a thought process video, and when I pointed out that every arc, no matter how small, was about the same theme, and it's
I thought
beautiful.
it was about many things, but we'll get to that. But like
we will get to that.
Yeah. I'm glad you enjoyed it, Sean. I'm glad.
Yes, I mean, is that it? Like,
do you know? Like, do you understand? Okay, you know me pretty well by now. Do you know? Like, can you understand why it's my favorite movie?
Well, okay. To be honest, not really. Like, I mean, I get why you like it, obviously, because I really, really like it. But I don't know what quality. I'm not entirely sure. I guess. I mean. No, I guess I would have to say no. I'm not sure why it's your number one favorite. Like, it's not. I'm not surprised that it's up there, but number one, I guess I couldn't point to a single thing. How would you defend it? Like, how would you defend it as your favorite? Like,
I think it's just because it's like the best example of like movie magic at work. Like, just that kind of thing that you wouldn't get anywhere else.
I don't know. See, I would argue a movie like Star Wars or something more spectacle. That always gets my movie magic.
That's
like,
Star Wars is another great example. Like Back to the Future, like just with all its with all its stuff, like you could not do that anywhere else. Like Star Wars, the same goes for Star Wars, but like Star Wars isn't as quotable, and like it's also just it's very much like
Max. You don't. I find your lack of faith disturbing.
Yeah,
it is definitely more as quotable.
Yeah, I think it's just a great showcase of like the kind of like
that's two bad quoting puns you've done today, Sean.
Oh, don't worry. When we get to Casablanca, reins are off when we get to Casablanca.
Okay, I think we need to establish something here, okay? Max really likes Back to the Future. He can quote Back to the Future. I really love Emperor's New Groove. I can quote Emperor's New Groove. That's my favorite movie, by the way. Sean can literally say the movie Casablanca line by freaking line.
With exact inflections.
Yeah, exact inflections and tones, and probably exact cue movements. All right?
Yes. I could probably claim
Sean is crazy about Casablanca. Okay. Maybe he's just crazy. I don't know. We'll have to see. But I think Sean, that's about it for Back to the Future.
Well, I guess actually I wanted to put one little note relating to that LA trip. You know the town square in the past of Valley Hill?
Yes.
Hill Valley?
That town square?
Yeah.
Hill Valley, right. I went there.
I went there too.
Yeah, that's in the
crazy. I want to go
lot.
back there because I wasn't entirely sure what it was, and then it wasn't until after I saw Back to the Future I'm like, holy shit!
Yeah.
Back to the Future.
Yeah, and by the way, only like a few 100 feet away is Central Park from Friends, where they filmed Central Park. Saw that too. Oh, anyway, it was really fun to see.
Netflix 2015.
That's so awesome. Can we do a podcast on Friends sometime?
Yeah, it's pretty classic.
Series.
Anyway, I guess should I do like final thoughts? Do you guys have any more prompts?
Yeah, final thoughts. Yeah, go for it.
Okay, my final prompts. It's a very funny movie, but that's not why I like it so much. Like, it's really not that like hilarious. I mean, a lot of the jokes are pretty far apart. There's some scenes that aren't like dead serious, but there aren't that many jokes in it. Why I like it is how well thought out it is. It's just really well structured and how things connect and how they all kind of like come together in one giant event. Like, oh well, this has to happen. It's just so many things are up in the air and it just comes together wonderfully. And it's only, I mean, I would call this, you can argue this is a sci-fi movie because it's time travel.
Right.
And sci-fi, especially time travel movies, can really do this, so many things up in the air really well. And this is one of the best examples of living up to the full potential of the concept and not screwing it up. Like, they did it.
Now I
wonderfully.
think about it, I think it was good that it was like very 80s because then it's like very defined in its own era, and
Sure.
then now it can be timeless even though it's very much an 80s movie
You know,
because it's about time travel.
I wouldn't mind a. don't kill me. A reboot of Back to the Future could be fascinating.
I was going to ask you that. Like, should it be rebooted?
Could be. I'm not going to say it should, but I'm saying if you got good people on it, they could do a lot with that idea.
Who would
Where
you
I
they
think
go
if you
back
took the
to the
notion
era
of,
the movie
of,
was
of a
made.
teenager and his crackpot scientist friend going to like a different time period, that's fine. 1985 to 1955, that's the original. Like you could do like 2015.
Yeah, no.
Like,
I think what they should
1995.
do is you make it 2017 or whatever, and they go back to when the movie was made. You know, that
Whoa.
era. Because it's about
Yeah.
the same time difference. Like, that's an interesting concept. But again, I'm not going to say it should be done. I'm
I
saying
wouldn't.
it
I
could
could
be interesting.
I can't even think of who you'd get for casting wise for that.
Well, that's the
They
thing.
would be
but-
unknown. They would
Yeah,
be
exactly.
unknown.
You
It'd
wouldn't
have to
know
be
yet.
complete unknowns because
Yeah, you wouldn't know.
who can recreate performances as timeless as those.
Can I vote Will Arnett as Doc Brown?
Oh no.
Oh,
I love
well,
Will
I mean-
Arnett. I love Will Arnett, but no, I don't think this is the role.
Great Scott. It's the flux capacitor.
All right, so Sean, are you gonna give us a score or no?
Yes, I would say 8. Great
8.
film.
Great film.
And
There
if
you
I'm
go.
gonna, maybe if I rewatch it, that bumps to an 8.5. I can see that possibility. But first
Yeah,
view,
great
an 8.
rewatch value. Great
All right,
rewatch
so
value.
Sean thinks Back to the Future is great, but the real question now, Max, what do you think of Casablanca?
Well, I mean, I already said. But let's.
I was about to say, I already said, like, if you were listening, paying attention.
Well, I meant the inner
God, you never
specifics.
listen to us.
The inner specifics, Max.
You're not my dad, God.
Gosh.
Yeah. Youngins, you
Yeah,
whippersnappers.
let's see. So, where to begin with this movie? Damn, there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Themes.
Can we start with how the beginning is kind of awful?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Well, okay,
it's
no,
very
no.
much like, yeah.
Let me say,
but
I like
love
the-
how it's just like, it's a literal spinning globe with
Yeah.
fog.
I
love
that part. I will say that. I love the intro with the coming Second World War, many eyes into prison, Europe, and hopefully desperately to the freedom of the Americas. Yeah, that part. It's great.
Mhm.
But it's the right after where they're rounding up the suspects. It has one of the cheesiest death scenes ever. And it's just, if someone's watching this and they see that and they're not ready to watch a movie, it's so easy to just go, this is not a good film. And just like
Yeah.
shut it off. But it is so unlike the rest of the movie, except one line. We'll get to that. I hate there's one line in this movie I hate. It's one of my least favorite lines in all cinema. We'll get to it. But yeah,
This
the
is
beginning.
such an interesting movie
Yeah.
for Sean on so many. I love it, but it has my least favorite line in
It
all
does.
of
It's
cinema.
one line. It's one line. It's awful. It's the worst.
We'll
It's
get-
the
we'll
black
get- we'll
stain
get
on
to
a
it.
flawless screenplay.
We'll get to it, yeah.
That gives me a good idea. I should block it out in my script. It's like that classified black streak across the line. Wait, what line is this? That's classified information.
Anyway, I liked
Max,
it.
you wanted to talk?
Yeah, I did. I liked this movie a whole lot. I think it was really good. Like one or two things holding it back from being like, to me being like a true like serious masterpiece. Now, first off, I can totally tell where freaking everybody gets this. Like the movie's influence is like huge. Like
Mhm.
seriously, but there, I also understand where this movie's influence kind of waned in comparison to a movie that came out around the same time, Citizen Kane. It's weird how much I was thinking about Citizen Kane while watching this movie.
Yeah, but I would argue that they're on opposite sides of the spectrum in terms
They
of
are,
like,
yes,
what
they are.
they're-
But I do think there's one part that Citizen Kane does better. But we will get to that later.
Yes.
The point is, I really like it, and the screenplay is really, really good.
I know.
The
One of us happens to own it.
the Stein brothers. Is that right?
Yes, that's not. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Stein
Epstein.
brothers.
Epstein. That's
Epstein
right.
brothers. Yeah, they did
Yeah,
a great
they
job.
wrote-
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was a play, as you can tell, because it's like 90%
Yeah,
one
that
location.
was my okay. Do I want to go into criticisms now, or do I want to just talk about the good?
Let's get the Christmas out of the way. Why not? Let's.
Okay, well,
yeah.
about halfway into this movie, I was like, something really, like, I'm really enjoying this movie, but there's something weird about it. And I decided to pause the movie and look it up online, and yes, this is based off a play, and
Oh,
I
yeah.
could tell. I could
Right.
tell, and it has to, and that's one of the things that kind of, I don't know, it sounded so much like a play and not so much like a film, and I do realize that we are talking about different time periods here, but I mean,
Right.
I was also thinking about another thing I watched recently. What is it called? The Normal Heart? What's it called?
The
It's one with
Normal
Mark Ruffalo.
Heart.
It's the what?
The Normal Heart.
Normal Heart. That in the same way that was also based off a play. You can just tell, like,
Yeah.
not
that's
only in
fair.
blocking but also just in line delivery, like in the structure of the play of the film. And as a guy who enjoys stuff that's a little bit more unique myself, even as well written as it was, I think it could have been benefited from stepping away from the theater and more a little bit into the screen. That's like my only complaint. And this goes into the film's aesthetic, which I just wish could have been better. There are a few shots that are awesome.
Oh yeah,
but sometimes
that's the thing. I acknowledge both of those. My response to the play thing would be, yes, they probably could have expanded a bit, but to be fair, I think they did. Like the Paris flashbacks was probably really hard to do on play. That's one of the best parts of the movie. I don't see that would have worked. The Blue Parrot is so minor. I don't know if they would have built a whole nother set on stage for the Blue Parrot. So I feel like they did expand a little. I can't confirm this because I don't know the script of the play at all. Yeah. But I guess the bigger argument that I would have is that if I saw this on stage, my first thought would be they should make a movie of that. Because I think it would work just as well on film. So I totally agree. It's not a uniquely cinematic experience, story, whatever you want to call it. I totally acknowledge that.
I don't know. I think they do a pretty good job, though.
Absolutely, yes. No, make no mistake. This is I'll elevate. It is a great film. It is a great film. Not really, really good. It's a great film, and that's the only thing that held it back for me. Just because I'm more of a guy who would enjoy And again, the cinematography for me just wasn't that great. There were a few moments that were really good, but
see, that is something that I think the cinematography would have fixed it. This is kind of a problem with this. It was in the 40s. This was the peak of studio Hollywood. Yeah, and aesthetics, cinematography drawn aesthetics, were kind of at an all-time low. I don't see that necessarily as a bad thing. A lot of great movies were made in this time.
Yeah, at the time, Casablanca was just another movie being put out.
Exactly. That's what's so great. This was just no one cared really.
Yeah,
about Casablanca.
They rushed this movie out because of the whole invasion of the invasion of North Africa in World War II. They rushed this movie out because to maintain relevancy. Do you realize how stupid that would sound if it was in modern movie journalism? Maybe with that's so stupid. They should not be doing that. Holy shit! That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, it was in development. I think it was done, but they pushed up the release because there was an invasion going on in Northern Africa.
Yeah, they pushed up the release just because of that, just to maintain relevancy. And
I'm glad you looked into the background. That's awesome, Max.
Oh, anyway, I was fascinated. Yeah.
So I would say the cinematography, there are some amazing shots, like the one with Rick unlocking the safe with Louis there, and you can see Rick's silhouette next to Louis.
Yeah, that's what I'm always thinking about. That was the one I was thinking about just now. Yeah.
Beautiful, best shot in the film,
I think that you guys know the Twitter account One Perfect Shot.
Yeah,
I think they used that shot, and I was like, wow, I forgot just how great that shot is.
That is a wonderful shot.
It's a great one.
Anyway, like I was saying, that's also you brought up Citizen Kane. That's why Citizen Kane stood out so much, because that was cinematography the movie.
Yes.
The thing is that's the thing. See, this is why Citizen Kane to me may in the grand scheme of things takes the cake instead of Casablanca. It's because it used cinematography as also a part of its overarching metaphor. The whole, the whole guys when Citizen Kane or when Charles was a kid and he sees the guys standing up and they're so tall and monstrous, and it's just a way to convey how he feels. I wish the movie could have benefited from that, which is why I wouldn't be entirely opposed to a remake. Not taking the same script, but taking all the things that instead of rushing it out, as the original product did, taking your time and just making a little bit more visually thematic instead of just all in the script. Which, damn, this movie's about so many things.
Well, Max, it's funny you should say that. I kind of maybe have a complete list of a potential remake.
Oh right, we talked about making an episode
Larry
about
and I, we talked about this, but this is before you saw the film, so Max, you weren't involved. But I think I have a wonderful cast. It would be perfect for a remake. However, I would disagree. I say you do literally the exact same script, but it can be interpreted in so many different ways. And it could come across as totally fresh.
I want to talk about this, but I want to go through the performances real quick. It's funny how Humphrey Bogart is one of the hallmarks of the detective gruff archetype. Mm-hmm. When he's not in his most famous role in Casablanca, he's not even a detective. He just owns a saloon.
He owns he owns a bar in some backwater town in Northern Africa.
Yeah, and I also like how I think if I had seen this anywhere earlier, I think it was a good time for me to watch this for the first time now, because if I was younger watching this, I'd be like, dude, that guy's so cool. When in reality, I think, dude, this guy's kind of an asshole.
Oh yeah, right. He's a sad person.
Oh yeah,
he's a cynical asshole.
If you watch this movie,
condescending,
honestly, when you watch this movie, I was really surprised at just how much I really was kind of on the fence Just about this guy in general.
Yeah, I think his name is Rick. Rick, right?
Rick Blaine, yeah.
Yes, Rick Blaine. I believe he is the first...
Richard Blaine, American, age 36, cannot return to his country.
Yeah, Richard or Rick or whatever. I think he is the first, quote, cool, unquote, character in movies. Like, I think
Bogart himself kind of, like, nailed that
Yeah,
cool
he was a huge... that's a good
Maltese
point.
Falcon, man, he was cool.
Yeah, and I think he did a really good job here. He's got the best voice for this kind of thing. Like,
There's such a bitterness. There's such that's what's so great is he's like, honestly, I think the most impressive acting that Bogart does in the film is not in most of the movie. I think it's in the Paris flashbacks because he's so unlike what he is the rest of the film. He's upbeat, he's happy, he's optimistic. And the moment where he gets that letter and you see the Rick you knew from the rest of the film just flood into him is just one of the best moments of the film.
When
he's standing on the station platform in the rain with a comical look on his face because his insides had been kicked out.
Yeah, it's funny when during that rain sequence when he was getting on the train, I honestly couldn't tell if that was just rainwater going down his face or if he was actually crying. I think that's the point.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, my favorite shot of the film is when he's reading the letter and the ink drips away with the rain / his tears. It's such a beautiful shot.
It's and
it's a good film.
Let's see.
Ilsa? Ilsa's second lead.
Ingrid Bergman.
She's good. Not to be confused with Ingmar Bergman.
I always do it. Whenever people talk about Ingmar Bergman, it takes me like 2 seconds to realize, oh, nope, not her.
She looks up to see if she was like related at all.
Whoops, nope. That's not.
Like, yeah, she was really good. She was, I really don't know how to rate. Hold on. You hear something?
No.
No?
You hear anything?
No, not from your end or anything.
I'm hearing things. I thought like that was going through. I mean, I'm hearing things from around me, not inside my head.
I think a beautiful.
Anyway.
I just want to kind of point something out here.
Hold on. Wait. Cut this out, Larry. Cut this part out where I'm like, hold on. Yeah, and then go for it.
About 38 minutes in, I already wrote down the time for it.
Fine, whatever. I think one of just a beautiful way that it's described. Roger Ebert, when he's reviewing this, he says that she paints his face, like Bogart's face, with her eyes. That's the way he described it. I think that's just a perfect way to describe her as well as her role in the movie. She's just, there's no way to beat that, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's also amazing how well she delivers some of her lines.
I know.
She was learning English during filming.
Really?
Yeah.
What?
Actually,
no
what's
way.
funny is Bogart was helping her out with the lines, and as they were doing like poker or something, and that's when he came up with "Here's looking at you, kid." It was not originally in the script; it was during filming.
That was
he came
his
up with
thing.
that.
Yeah. It's interesting. What I also find interesting is, well, I mean, honestly, I can't really judge because I'm not really sure how to like judge a female's performance in the 1940s because I'm not really sure what she's going for.
That is a problem. I mean, she is kind of
just like. She can't really do anything for herself, and the only time she does, she can't do it. She only, when she's about to try to kill Rick, she can't do it.
Okay, how I would defend this is, I don't know. That is always kind of a sticking point.
I don't think this movie has ethically aged well. Like it doesn't really. Yeah, it's very much a movie of its moments.
I mean, I think it's wonderfully like the message, the theme, I should say, and we'll get to that. But yes, her role. It was the 40s. It's kind of minimized. She's kind of portrayed as witch man for me. But, however, I think like if you take it out of the context, it's a relatable dilemma where it's kind of these two sides of, it was a dark time for her and she found one person that, she fell in love with. And, I mean, it's hard. Like the person that she was initially fell in love with is alive. And like that's hard. She had moved on, but it turns out she hadn't. Like, it's a very understandable conflict. I feel like if you think, nope, it's not, sexist isn't the right term, but it isn't.
It's not exactly in the favor of the female.
Right. If you just take that away and just look at the character, I really don't think it's that bad. I do think could update it. I do think that, it is probably the least aged element, except Ilsa calling Sam boy. That also did not age well.
Yeah, I will. I got a lot of time to think about, like, the contextual messages in Casablanca. I got all the time in the world. But I will say, speaking of Sam, he was my favorite character. I really
Okay,
like
well,
Sam.
no, Louis was your favorite character. We'll get to him. But really, Sam?
I think it's just because like, and this is just like a me thing. It's just he's like the most like genuine character in the whole thing, and it's funny how the only like
yeah, he is. I mean, I really like. Obviously, I love all these characters.
and I think it's also because the music that he does is incredible.
As time goes by,
As time goes by,
love that
again,
song.
ethically not aged well. Man needs woman, woman needs man, and man must have his mate. That's I don't know about that, but it's still a great song. In fact,
really, I don't think that's any like bias towards any side. I think that's just different. It was just using synonyms.
That no one can deny the fact that. Okay, that aside, fun fact: I once auditioned for a musical at my high school, and they used that song without knowing like the context of Casablanca or anything like that. I was like, "Hey, Frank Sinatra, it's a good fucking song. I'm gonna sing that." Did not go well, but whatever. So it's that's a great song. The fact that they keep using it over and over again, and the fact that it actually is about time passing, and it's with the two characters and their whole dilemma is time passing and all this stuff. It's good, thematic, it works. This is a movie or a piece of art where everything is put in there for a reason.
Oh, I know. That's the best part. That's why I think it's the best film. Like everything.
Yeah,
everything, no matter how small, it just plops in the theme.
That's always been like my favorite part of like stuff like I don't know, video game like BioShock Infinite, where everything in there is consistently like everything in the plot is consistently made to like add to the theme, or just where everything has a purpose. Nothing is just like thrown in there.
Yeah, Casablanca is a poster child of that.
Yeah, I mean, maybe I don't know if it invented that idea, but it certainly did popularize the idea of having stories where everything meant something.
Yeah, everything was
in service to something. It wasn't just we'll just write this in because seriously, that's where like that just gives you a lot to chew on. Mm-hmm. So let's see what else. There's that other guy. I don't remember his name. Victor Laszlo.
Victor Laszlo. Yeah, he's probably third billed. He really shouldn't be.
Yeah, he's good. It's funny. His face it reminds me of Simon Pegg's for some reason. I don't know.
Interesting. I can kind of see that actually. But he's
just
not
like
who
especially
I cast,
his eyes and where they are. Yeah. He was really good. Everybody in here was good. I just don't have much to say outside of that.
The funny thing about Laszlo, I've always felt to be the least approachable character in the film because he is kind of perfect.
Yeah, he's a hero.
My favorite scene of Laszlo's is after they escape the underground meeting, and Rick had just denied him the letters. And on the surface, his dialogue indicates that he's completely forgiven Rick, all that. At least at the beginning of the scene. But man, there's a legitimate anger there. And then it comes out in the dialogue where he just pretty much calls Rick out on like, hey, you're kind of a horrible person right now. You should probably change that. And you're going to be miserable all your life. And that's my favorite scene of his because it does reveal a human side. He is angry at Rick for not giving him the letters of transit, and rightfully so.
Yeah. It's this complicated movie. But yeah, it's I think that was good. Like everybody did a good job. It was like, but I wasn't like really paying attention to that as much as I was paying attention to the story. The only performance that really sticks out to me is Humphrey Bogart because Humphrey Bogart.
What about Louis?
Which are we talking about the
prefect of police? He's by far my favorite character. The prefect of police.
Oh wait, are we talking about like the guy at the very end?
Round up the usual suspects.
Oh yeah, okay, that guy. He was good. I don't know. I liked his character.
He's the best character. Louis is wonderful. He is a gem. He is so horrible, though. It's great. The more you think about it, the just more awful that character is. But he gets his redemption. Again, we're doing spoilers, so I don't care if I say it.
I mean, he's a good character, I guess.
Well, he doesn't get his full redemption, don't get me wrong, which is a reason I think a sequel could actually really work for this film. But he is well on his way. He is such a likable character. And he reminds me of Jaime from Game of Thrones, where it's like, I wish I did not like you, but you're so great. Because they're doing these bad things, but they're just so likable. Like when when they're doing the bet on whether or not Laszlo escapes, and Rick says, "I just paid out 20. I'd like to get it back," and he responds with, "Make it 10. I'm only a poor corrupt official." Just he's so honest about who he is. He is so honest. Like I'm a scumbag.
How honest is this place? This place is as honest as the day is long.
Well, that wasn't Louis, but yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's and that leads me to my next point. This is a very quotable movie. Very quotable. I'm surprised only a few lines have been like used. Like, here's looking at you, kid. We'll always have Paris.
Honestly, like the line, like my favorite line in the film. Well, okay, my favorite in terms of just like the context, in terms of context, is when Rick does reveal that he's on Laszlo's side, and he acts like he's turning Ilsa and Victor in.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And when he has Louis at gunpoint, and he says, "Let me hear you call the airport, and remember, this gun is pointed right at your heart." And Louis responds, "That is my least vulnerable spot." I love that line. Like, that's my favorite line. In
Okay,
terms of
now what's your
context.
least favorite line? You were talking about it.
It's during the Paris flashback, and it's Ilsa. Is that cannon fire, or is it my heart pounding?
Oh, well, I think, okay, I remember this line, and yeah, it was kind of cringe-worthy. I think it's designed to be, like, very, like, it's designed to further support the point that this was, like, this is a romance out of, like, a movie or a book or something. Like, this was, like, supposed
also,
to be, like...
I think the way to defend the kind of cheesiness of the flashbacks is that it is through rose-colored lens. It's Rick remembering, so perfect.
And I think those
back
flashbacks, that story is the best thing in the movie. Like, that whole...
Really?
I thought this was a romantic film. It's not at all. It's like
No.
It's a movie, like... See, I used to write, and I used to think that, like, a lot of my writing had to do with, like, the past or whatever. Like, the past had a very large impact on how I wrote stuff. It's not anymore. It never was. But if I saw this movie then, I would have been like... I would have, like, further emphasized that point. Because this movie is a lot about the past and how the unwavering effects it has on us. But, I mean, it's about a lot of things, which is a great segue into... Okay. I'm not sure. I thought that Casablanca was kind of a metaphor. It was the entire city was a metaphor for World War II itself.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, good.
Like, undeniably. And what's funny,
I thought I was, like, completely out there with that.
Yeah, no. Everyone says it's a propaganda film. However, the problem is that this was made before we entered the war.
Right.
It's true, yeah.
Now, we were in the war at the time of release. No, actually, we weren't. It came out... Wait, was it 1942? Because, I mean, obviously we entered the war December 7th, 1941.
Yeah, I know we came in kind of late. And, like, that was World War One. I'm not sure, but I'm not sure if America had joined the Allied forces at that time, but yeah, okay. So
it was being filmed before. That I can declare.
But I thought at first
certainty.
maybe because we're talking about, Humphrey Bogart, like kind of the handsome white guy.
Yes.
I thought that was who he was supposed to represent America, that he was trying to be neutral. And then at the very end, he caves and he decides to be part of it.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what America did in the long run. So
exactly. Yeah, no, that is not out there. That is, very much agreed on. It is a cry to get America involved. It's showing this character who's really sad and pathetic and cynical and all this. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, the politics of the world aren't in my department. I stick my neck out for no one. All these lines just reinforce, no, I don't care. And the whole point is his arc coming in. He does. He's back to the fight. Welcome back to the fight. This time, I know our side will win. Laszlo says that. It's like, hey, America, help us. Like, that's kind of the point.
Yeah.
There's a reason he was a European leader. Like, there's a reason he was European.
Yeah, we had a pretty ethnically diverse cast. Like,
yes,
honestly.
absolutely. In fact, that's one of the strengths. My favorite scene in the film is for totally, like, in the film, it doesn't matter. It's when the Germans in the cafe are singing their anthem. And Laszlo gets the band.
That's fucking the battle of the bands kind of thing. It's
now
awesome.
Why that's my favorite scene.
God, I love that's probably my favorite scene too. Yeah,
it's a wonderful scene in itself, but it's so much better when the backstory was coming in, and when I read about the backstory behind that scene. Basically, World War II was happening. America wasn't in it yet, but World War II was happening, and there were tons of refugees from Europe. They were fleeing the Nazi regime. A lot of them became extras on Hollywood. In fact, they explicitly went out of their way to get extras that had fled Europe. They were refugees. And so when they got to stand all together in that set, sing the French anthem.
They got to have their own personal victory.
And that makes it so much better.
Yeah, Larry, what's your favorite scene?
Yeah,
you haven't spoken at all.
Hi. Favorite scene. I mean, I've only seen the movie like once. So it's hard.
Yeah,
the movie's my favorite scene, but if I had to pick...
ironically, which is really funny, your least favorite line, Sean, the cannonball thing, that's during my favorite scene.
Really? In the Belle of War?
Yeah. I just think that was probably the moment I was most engaged.
Because I could see that because it is this is flashback.
Right.
It's about to get really bad.
Yeah.
And so when she says "kiss me as if for the last time," we're like, ah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not much of a romance guy, but like this movie got me.
This movie's romance is extremely genuine, which surprises me. Yeah.
Like, and what I also like is it wasn't just. So many times with love triangles, which this is a love triangle, like it's presented way better than like any modern love triangle, but it is a love triangle.
Mm-hmm.
something that it's way too easy to make the guy the girl's with originally just the worst. It's like, what do you see in him? No, the relationship between Ilsa and Laszlo is arguably better and more genuine
it's so
than
much
Rick
healthier.
and Ilsa.
And we're talking about
way more
a commendable
healthier, for sure.
human being who is trying to lead a resistance. And look at fucking Rick. He's just being a dick.
Yeah. Then you got
even
Bogart's
old
character
Rick
in the
wasn't-
back.
Even the relationship with old Rick was very much lovey-dovey. Oh, how wonderful. Whereas Ilsa and Laszlo are obviously, this is a long-term relationship that is going to work. Their marriage is very solid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad that it's both sides. You get what Ilsa sees in Laszlo. You get what she sees in Rick, at least pre-train station Rick and post put the phone down, whatever Rick. It's very well done. The relationships are very even.
And I think that's why the movie, I think, is also about just, like, getting over yourself. Like,
Yeah, no, I mean, honestly, I would say the theme is sacrifice. Because
what does everybody agree this movie's about?
I'd say sacrifice.
I'd say
because that's the central thing. It's Rick giving up what he views as his happiness, which it is, in order for the greater good and in the end her happiness. Again, he understands it. He says it. If you don't get on that plane, you'll regret it. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon and for the rest of your life. He understands that their relationship is way healthier, way better for both of them.
Right.
He grows up.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a man trapped in the past finally decides to grow up and do something about it. And I think that's
I would
great.
say it is. It's definitely
theme, for sure.
It's definitely sacrifice. I'd also kind of put this movie under my shit happens list, where like, look, buddy, shit happens. Sometimes you just got to do stuff.
Look,
and
your
it's not
girlfriend's
okay.
underground resistance leader's husband sometimes turns out to be alive. Okay, it happens.
Yeah, it happens, dude. Buddy,
it's happened to me like
buddy,
3 times.
It happens, but you got to go with it, and you got to just suck it up.
What's so great is that even the smallest little thing, one of my favorite scenes is when I can't remember her name, just a Bulgarian refugee talks to Rick. And basically, I'm going to put it very explicitly, she's making sure that when she sleeps with Louis, he will get her out of town. That's what she's doing. She's asking Rick, hey, I'm going to sleep with him because that's what he's asking. Will he honor his word? Rick says, yeah. Because Louis is a scumbag, but at least he keeps his word. And so that scene is so great because she's sacrificing her integrity of marriage to her husband in order to secure his happiness. And like that, even that smallest one scene arc is about sacrifice. And even the funny throwaway scene with the refugees learning English and talking to Carl, you could argue that they were giving up part of their heritage or something. Like there's some little bit of sacrifice in everything. That's why I think it's about sacrifice, and that's why I love it. Everything's about. Anyway,
everything,
you should talk.
really.
Sorry.
So it was really good. And just to further emphasize what I said at the beginning, I don't know what it was, but I was watching this movie and I'm like, yeah, this is Sean's favorite movie. Like, I think I know you well enough to the point where I understand like why you enjoy this movie so much, not just from a technical standpoint, but just like why it resonates with you so well. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but just the dialogue, the characters, it all just feels very captivating.
Yeah, I don't think I knew exactly why it would be my favorite until I read one quote. Now, I'm just going to pull it up here because it's one of my it's probably my favorite quote about the film. Nope, hold up. I'm on the wrong. It's quote. Talk for a second as I find it.
So, Max, how's life?
Good. Finished watching a movie. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Probably give it a rating out of 10.
Yeah. That's about right.
A possible score of a possible score. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hold on.
It's good. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just waiting for this quote to be Casablanca is good.
It
looks
looks
like
like it was
G-U-D.
Looks like it was changed a bit. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I just want it to be like, Casablanca's a piece of crap. And Sean's like, that's what made me love it so much. I just want it to be that kind of irony.
Yeah.
Okay, here it is. Okay. Thus, Casablanca is not just one... It's talking about all these different pieces and all these different stories. It says, thus, Casablanca is not just one film. It is many films, an anthology. Made haphazardly, it probably made itself, if not actually against the will of its authors and actors, then at least beyond their control. And this is the reason it works, in spite of its aesthetic theories and theories of filmmaking. For in it there unfolds the almost telluric force and power of narrative in its natural state, without art intervening to discipline it. It is story, just punching you And that's why I
Yeah.
think the limited cinematography isn't a huge drawback.
Mm-hmm.
It's there. It is narrative without art there to discipline it. I love that quote.
It's
It's
and you know what?
narrative.
I would agree. I think it's very much centered on the story, and I'm not really, I wouldn't disagree with that at all. I mean, I think Back to the Future does focus a little bit both on story and also on comedy, a whole
Yeah,
lot, and
definitely.
a bit of effects. But Casablanca is very focused on story. It's got to
Yes.
get through what it's got to say,
And,
I think in the
it's-
end it really benefited from that.
And it still has pretty good artistry, running
Yeah,
through
yeah.
it. I mean, it's got some
Honestly,
very
yeah.
good shot composition, and it's got some interesting, it just has some interesting.
I would say honestly, this
overall.
thing would benefit. I think this thing would benefit from like a full on like a widescreen, because this thing in a cropped like 4:3 is just, oh man, it could have been so much better with the ratio, which is why I think it would be great to remake today under the cinematography of, oh god, I can't believe I'm saying this. I think Wally Feister would be a good cinematographer for this.
He could
I
do
really
it.
do.
Yeah, he
Do you want to
could.
know who I want to direct the remake?
Oh no.
Maybe I'll reveal it. You know what? Let's do it after the podcast.
Is it
don't
who
wanna
I
lay
think
my
it
cards
is?
out. No, it's
Is it?
not. No,
Oh.
get him away.
Okay.
This is
Oh,
not the
wow.
film for him. This is
Oh,
not a
oh,
Nolan
I know,
film.
I know. Okay.
Get him away. He can produce or something.
Well, Max.
Give him a "You're awesome" credit, but no Nolan directing.
Yeah.
So, Max, we want some final thoughts.
And score,
Casablanca
please.
is, I think Sean's quote really does say it best. Casablanca is a movie very focused on story, and though personally I do wish it would focus a little bit more on visual aesthetics to make it more of a movie, that really doesn't get in the way of the fact it is a really great movie that really does grab me. I don't know if I mentioned this, but it really did compel me. I was during that climax, it got to me. I wasn't really sure if they were going to make it.
Yeah, and did you know
know.
what Rick was going to do? That's one of my favorite parts. Is I honestly didn't know what decision Rick had come to.
Yeah, he's such a complex character. You can't really, and I think it's really powerful for a movie's climax, even back in 1942, to still make an impact in 2014. So with that in mind, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10.
Nice.
Ah, look at that. Even eights all around. Na, 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 na.
Oh man, that
Um,
was a close one. We could have
Yeah, imagine if
Man.
one of you hated it. That would have been
Oh,
awful.
and the music is so awesome, especially. Oh man. Okay, anyway, let's wrap this up before we hit the hour mark.
So that was interesting. I liked it.
yeah.
Very nice
Yeah,
job.
this
I'm
is
just
a lot of
glad
fun.
we-
Yeah, we should do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Maybe
we
we'll
can
be a
pick-
little bit more mixed on something. Let's see. Sean, you'll watch Back to the Future 2. I'll watch Casablanca 2. Okay.
Well,
Do it.
no, Casablanca 2 doesn't exist yet. I want
Oh,
it to
wow.
so bad.
That's a little late for that.
Yeah.
But
Where
No,
would you
it's not.
go
We'll-
with? You know what? Never mind. Let wrap
No, I
this
know
up later.
exactly where I'd go with it. I have the sequel in my head, and it's awesome. I will tell you about it, Max. I will tell you about it. Anyway,
right. So
Get us out of here, Larry.
yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Of all the podcasts, you decide to listen to ours.
oh come on,
And
you
we
could have done that
appreciate
better.
it.
Of all the podcasts and all the sites and all the web,
I didn't want to.
you clicked on mine.
I didn't want to overdo it, but
No, you just underdid it.
but
Come on.
so again, if you want to check out more episodes of Cinema Talk and maybe keep yourself updated on if we're ever going to come back, you can go to rulethirds.com. We got all of our stuff there. We're gonna make like trees and get out of here. My name is Larry.
My name is Sean.
And my name is Max.
We'll see you guys later.
Hey, you guys know what we should plan for the next time? I mean, tomorrow's a little bit too far away for me, but if you guys have any plans for next week, nobody.
Mhm. What?
Never mind.
And I'm just racking my brain for a good Casablanca quote to end
That was what I
on.
was trying to do. Actually, I was trying to.
Wait, okay, what were you setting up?
I was gonna say he says something tomorrow is too far away for me, and I can't even remember yesterday or something like that.
Oh yeah. No, that was you know what? Good job. That was good setup. Well, I mean, you could have done it better if you before you had said where you prompted me that's so long ago I don't remember, and then it
Yeah.
went to that I never
Oh,
make
okay,
plans
yeah,
that far
yeah.
ahead. But well done, Max. You just earned a point for trying to set up a Casablanca reference. Max, I do believe this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Or a beautiful tolerance.
To get ourselves a treat, let's all go to the lobby. To get ourselves a treat.